So today we're going to do number 7, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the life path and the karmic number 7, which the meaning of it is pretty much the same. However, karmic number is the day you were born, and life path is the accumulation of your entire birthday. So if you're born on the 7th, 16th, or 25th of any month, you are number 7. Okay, however, 16th and 25th has less of an energy of a 7 than actual 7. And the life path is, like I said, it's just the accumulation of your entire birthday into a single digit, which comes down to 7. Unless it's a master number, 11, 22, 33, and 44, then you do not reduce it. That becomes your actual life path number, which I will do later. So 7 is about spirituality. 7 is the most spiritual number in the numerological zodiac, the numerological number cycle. 7 represents the tranquility that we are all here to experience in this life. 7 represents isolation, okay? And that too, not by forced, but by choice. 7 people love to be alone. If you can leave them alone, they're going to be in heaven, versus a 5 who likes to party all the time, who likes to be social all the time. 7 people feel that 7 people are pretty much more comfortable, being inverted towards themselves. And this is why they make some of the best writers, because writing a book, a novel, requires alone time. And this is why 7 is also very much of an observer of life. In a party, if there's a 7 in a party, they'll probably sit quietly on the side and observe people, the conversations, what's being discussed. So when they write about it later on, in their journal or book, they can use that situation. So that's why they always observe. They always experience, what life is about. Number 7 is ruled by the south node Ketu and the planet Neptune, because these are very spiritual planets, okay? But 7 is also co-ruled by Moon, who's also the ruler of number 2, because 7 represents emotions as well. So this is one number that is ruled by 3 planets instead of 1 or 2. So if your friend is a 7 or your lover is a 7, and you feel like, why is it that they don't want to do anything? Why is it that when they need something, they call me, otherwise they don't want to call me to hang out with me? They're very selfish. That's what people think about 7, and that's not true. And I'm saying this from personal experience, because people misunderstand me, thinking that I am selfish because I only call them when I need something. But the thing is, I'm not a social person as a 7. I do not like to just call people, hey, let's go for drinks. Let's go here, let's go to a party. I have very few friends. I have maybe 1 or 2 max friends that I can do that with. But if anybody else that comes in my life, whether it's through filmmaking, writing, directing, I made so many friends through as actors, actresses, but then they kind of just went away when they saw I wasn't calling them afterwards. They would invite me to all these parties and I wouldn't go. But when I needed something, when I say, hey, can you do me a favor? I need to do this line and all that, and I call them. And so they felt like, oh, he just wants to use us. But the thing is, 7 doesn't really like being social. They want to observe life 24/7, and that's their pleasure, that's their passion. But when it comes to love, they're very committed. They're like Scorpios. They're very committed. They're in tune with their partner. So 7 actually is very much could be the most romantic number of them all. But you got to give 7 their space. So when 7 says, after 3-4 months of dating, that hey, I need my space, just don't take it as personally, because they like being alone, they like being isolated, they like being by themselves most of the time, so they can rejuvenate themselves. Now, this is why when it comes to their career, 7 likes to be alone by themselves. 7 cannot work under somebody. They will always run into that, authoritative issue. This is why 7, makes the best self-employed person. And this is why Obviously, the destiny of 7 is to become a writer, to become a performer, to become a director. So, if all the mainly most novelists, most romantic writers, because 7 is a very spiritual, romantic number. They're emotional in love. So they make, best romantic writers. Film editors, they know how to make a story. Pretty much 7 is, as much as it's about spirituality, they love to, tell a good story. So a film editor is a 7 most of the time, because they know which scene should come next to give you that emotional feeling. A director, how to direct a story, how to, present something that will touch your heart. And the example is me. I'm a 7, and I'm everything that I just mentioned. So I'm a live example of 7. I'm everything. I'm a filmmaker. I have made movies. I have directed, edited, produced, and acted in my movies. I've written scripts, and obviously I've written books, whether it's astrology or romantic novels or sci-fi books. Okay. Now 7 also make the best healers. They make the best psychics, the best astrologers, numerologists, Reiki healers, pranic healers, the touch healing. They make some of the best Ayurvedic medical doctors. Anything that has to do with the spiritual path, that's who they are. They make the best painters, okay? And another thing about 7 is they'll either be very studious or very artistic, never both. So if a 7 might be a writer, a painter, or a spiritual healer, or they'll be scientists, researchers, physicists, mathematicians, and professors at a university, because all these professions, whether spiritual or not, require time alone. They require long hours of research. And that's where 7 is passionate, spending time alone by themselves and doing that research, whether it's researching for their writing subject, whether researching for their medical subject, whether researching for their spiritual subject, okay? And this is why director and editor, like I mentioned, also requires a lot of time alone. Now, who are 7 compatible with? Obviously, 7 are compatible with 1 and 5. And when it comes to 7 and 7, that's a very bad match, because it'll be 2 people who are together who do not want to be together. So 7 and 7 creates a very just not a good match, okay? Unless it's a 16 or 25. So if you're a 7 and you're with a 16 or 25, then it's a different thing. Then the energy is different, because you have the energy of 1 and 6, or you have the energy of 2 and 5. So that kind of works better. But 7 gets along with 1, 2, and 4, okay? 1, 2, and 4 are very compatible with 7. Now, even though in numerology you see the pattern that I told you about, 1, 5, and 7 gets along, 2, 4, and 8 gets along, 3, 6, and 9 gets along, but 7 is that one number that really gets along with 1, 2, and 4 more than 5, okay? So these are the compatibilities of a 7. Now, in numerology, there are things called remedies. So if your name vibration, so let's say if your life path and your karmic number is not matching, then your name has a vibration too, a number of vibrations. So a numerologist will say, hey, change your name to this, from JOHN to JOHNN, and you'll see, better luck come to your way. And that doesn't really happen, because if, let's say, you change your name at the age of 30 and you have that 30 years of old name vibration built up, you going to the court and changing your name legally will not just bring that new vibration all the way to the old one. No, there's a process, because you have to get rid of that 30 years of built up of old vibration of your name that you have put it everywhere in the world, So there's a procedure where you have to write your name a certain amount of day, certain times in a day, certain days, with a certain color of ink. So like 7 is more of a lighter green ink that you have to write your name with 3 times for 43 days. See, these are the kind of things that you need to know, because if you just change your name, it will take a very, very long time, or it will not work, because you're not putting your name out there every day. Maybe once a month you might go somewhere, fill out an application, put your name in. So it's a very slow process of building that vibration. But if you want that effect, you do these remedies that not too many people know about. For that is why, check out my link below, and you will see some of the most fascinating information on astrology and numerology. You will know what astrology is once you browse through my website. All right, thank you.